It is my particular pleasure and honor to be presenting to you and discussing with our Deputy Minister of Development and Investments, Mr. Christos Dimas. Dear Minister, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor for us that you could be here with us today. As you may have heard, we're being joined by international angel investors and VCs and an international audience. So I'm sure that they would be all very interested to know what has been achieved so far by the Greek government in order to facilitate the investment ecosystem.
First of all, allow me to say that I'm very happy and privileged to be here with you. And I do want to congratulate the ICC for today's event. Allow me to make a very brief comment. Equality of opportunity for both women and men is extremely important. And now I'm not speaking as a politician, but as a proud dad of a little girl, of a brother, of a sister. So it's extremely important to stress that and to try to push all of the policies in order to achieve this equality of opportunity. And one final comment, in the Ministry of Development and Investments, we have the General Secretariat of Research and Innovation. Actually, the majority of the employees in the General Secretariat of Research and Innovation are women. And in fact, in the top 4 managerial positions, we do have 4 women occupying these positions, and they are actually doing an amazing job. Now, very, very briefly, what are we doing in the Ministry of Development regarding the ecosystem? Up until recently, we didn't know how many startups we had in Greece, in which sectors they operated, how many people they employed, what budgets they had. So we practically had no information about the ecosystem. Even if we wanted to legislate specific beneficial legislation for the startups, it was difficult to do so because we didn't have all of the information needed. And in fact, giving a definition of what companies are startups is a very difficult question. This is not an issue that only Greece had problems with, but other countries also had faced similar difficulties. So we started examining best practices of other countries, and we saw that in some cases, creating a startup registry was very helpful. We wanted though to make a more decisive step apart from creating a registry. So we did create Elevate Greece, and Elevate Greece acts as the national startup registry. It maps the players and the actors of the ecosystem, so startups, spin-offs, VC funds, incubator centers, accelerators, and all of the other factors. It monitors progress of the startups. It does offer networking opportunities with businesses. It addresses local and global investors, so it does help extroversion, and it does allow the state to tailor-make measures for the startup ecosystem. In fact, we are making good use of cohesion money to support the ecosystem due to the pandemic. Because for some startups, the pandemic was an opportunity, especially for technological application or even companies that measure the virus load in urban wastewater. But in other sectors, such as in tourism, for example, the startups were very much affected. So we are giving grants covering at least 80% of startups' working capital in relation to the previous year. We have, for the first time, created specific tax incentives for angel investors through Elevate Greece. And in fact, it is effective since 1 week ago. So we are expecting now to have more opportunities and more funding opportunities, but also networking opportunities for the flourishing startup ecosystem. But I see that my time has passed, so I will stop here.
Thank you very much for this information. Now, I'm sure that based on the previous panel and the different topics that we've discussed here today, a recurring question has been, how could we attract more female entrepreneurs and scientists to get involved with the startup ecosystem? Some things we heard was through education, through STEM, through music, different ideas. Do you have an opinion? Are there things we could be doing to enhance female entrepreneurs and scientists to get involved?
First of all, in some sectors, and especially from in life sciences, you will see that you have more women studying life sciences than men. However, it's actually quite interesting that if you see the top positions in the life sciences, in universities, in companies, you will see that this percentage has reversed. And although you have more women studying life sciences in the top positions, you do indeed have more men. I think that it's extremely important to start educating from a very young age, both young girls but also young boys, and trying to enhance this entrepreneurial spirit within younger ages. So education is key in that. But I also think that it's absolutely necessary to give women the chance to both create their families and at the same time work. I think there is an important gap both in legislation but even in financial tools that perhaps doesn't give Greek women, at least, so many opportunities as in other countries. So I know that the Greek government is working on that. For the first time, we do have a deputy minister for family policy, and she's working on that very hard. So it's both an issue of education, but also an issue of legislation and financial tools. We have to be realistic, especially in Greece. Although both parents do help raise their children, I would dare to say that women, mothers, do face more problems, both because there is perhaps a work spirit that perhaps is more friendly towards men than women, and we have to work in order to change that as well. But also because the legislation does not give all of the incentives and opportunities needed in order to allow women to work and progress their family at the same time.
That's great. So we can expect to hear some interesting things coming up also in terms of legislation, education, so we can have a new generation of risk takers. Thank you very much.
Allow me to say that I know that even from the funds coming from the Recovery and Resilience Funds, the Greek government has included some measures trying to decrease the gap in terms of legislation and financial tools compared to other EU countries that might have more innovative solutions in that direction.
Mr. Deputy Minister, thank you, and from my side as well for being with us today. Congrats for what you have achieved, you and your very efficient team, very innovative politics. Since you mentioned it, and yes, we were honored to have members from European Business Angel Network and Free Business Angel with us. Could you please give us some clues and some details about the latest legislation on business angels? It's something that we're waiting a lot of time for the Greek ecosystem.
Of course, it's the first time that the Greek state actually legislates specific incentives, tax incentives for angel investors, and this is only a first step. We actually give through Elevate Greece the people that invest in companies of the National Startup Registry of Elevate Greece will have a tax deduction equal to 50% to their investments. So it's an important first step. We make the companies, the startups of Elevate Greece more attractive for investment. We hope that this measure will actually increase liquidity for the startup ecosystem. I would dare to say that it's only a first step. It's a test in order to see if this tax tool works. We are also considering, though, other measures in order to see how we can boost the ecosystem in terms of funding related with more incentives for angel investments. Allow me just to say that it's a very recent legislation, so perhaps many of the startups might not even know it. It was signed last week and is effective ever since.
Excellent. Thank you very much.